It was about 20 years ago that a friend of mine said, "Hey, you want to be on a marathon team with me?" And I said, "I don't think I can run that far." And he said, "No, no, no, you don't have to run the whole marathon." He said, "You just have to do a leg of it." The Vermont Key Bank Marathon, Vermont City Marathon at the time, I think it was called, had teams of 5 people. So, people had different lengths that you ran. They were anywhere between 4 and 8 miles. So they slotted me into one of the segments. And as I was doing some training for it, I thought, hey, I got this. I think I was doing like a 7 mile leg of it. And so I decided, why don't I, in my training, I'd gotten up to running 7 miles, and I thought, maybe I could do like a half marathon. So I trained up a little more, and I think I did a longest run of like 12 miles. And so when I was doing my leg of the race, I just kept on going, and ran until I'd run 13.1 miles. Well, so I decided that summer, this was in May, I decided that summer, if I'm halfway to training for a marathon, maybe I'll just do the whole thing sometime. And started looking around and found a marathon in the Adirondacks in the fall, September. And so I'd get up every morning during the summer, except for, 1 or 2 break days a week, one, I think, and do my runs. And it was one of those summers that was, by our standards anyway, here, not like this. And I'd get up about 4 o'clock, just as the sun was starting to rise, and start off on, my long runs, especially. I think those were Saturday mornings. And when the time finally rolled around to do the race, it was a perimeter run around a lake in the Adirondacks. I went all out for the first about half of the race, and was, moving at a really good clip, for me anyway. And what I didn't know, because I'd never run a marathon before, was it's hard to know how much fuel's in the tank, so to speak, for the end of the race. And while I didn't have, exactly a crash in the last 3 or 4 miles, it was slow slogging along the way. And I was so ready to be done by the end of it. It felt a little bit like this election season. I am so ready for things to be done. And so hopeful that things, by the end of the day, whatever the day is, that there's clarity. There've been so many things in 2020 that I've just thought, like, well, that wouldn't happen in this country. Whether it's ways that we interact with each other. Yeah, you know the list. And why would I even think that wouldn't happen in this country? As if somehow, by virtue of living in one land, you're exempt from so many parts of the human condition. Well, so my hope and prayer, at the midst of what is a corporate sense of exhaustion, is that somewhere there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that we get there without any additional unnecessary harm, which has been such a central part of the narrative in recent days and weeks. Life unfolds all around us. I'll give us just a moment to look at a few snowflakes falling. They do what they do. All these little wonders of life. And here we are, right in the midst of it, unfolding as it will, playing our little part. Hopefully and prayerfully, one block at a time, building up a kingdom of love and care. For in the end, love wins. Finding God in the Times of COVID, November 2nd.